discuss the benefits of creatine as a supplement in your workout regimen. First of all, where does it come from? Creatine is derived primarily from red meat sources in fish. It's naturally produced at about 2 grams per day in an adult male. Creatine is in the body already, so you are supplementing it, but your body naturally creates it. What does it do? Creatine is used to resynthesize ATP. Now this is its primary function. And ATP is adenosine triphosphate. ATP is stored in muscles and is what drives the muscle contractions. When a muscle is required to contract, the ATP bond is split and the energy is released. This released energy is what fuels the contractions. So when you're going to do that powerful lift, this ATP that's stored up in your muscle is split, and that energy that's resulting from the split is what drives that contraction or that movement to raise up the weight. Now the result during this split of the ATP molecule is adenosine diphosphate, which we'll talk about later. When the ATP is exhausted, the muscle can no longer contract and the ATP must be replenished. So you need to put that fuel back in the muscle. The fastest way to rebuild the ATP is to split any available creatine phosphate bonds. The resulting phosphate molecule is added to the remaining ADP in an oxygen-free environment, otherwise known as an anaerobic environment, to recreate the ATP molecule. When the creatine phosphate is fully depleted, the body must use other slow methods to rebuild the ATP. So, in essence, you really want to keep that ATP supply high, so having a good concentration of creatine phosphate will help rebuild the ATP in the fastest way possible. How much should I take? This is an interesting question. All the research that I've done indicated that there's usually a loading phase is generally about 20 grams of creatine per day for 5 to 7 days. The maintenance phase would be the remainder of this cycle. 5 grams per day for the remainder. Now, how long you say is a typical cycle? Well, from the reading and the research that I've done, most people say that the cycle should be a 1 month on, 1 month off. Although there's no hard evidence that says that there's detrimental effects to staying on for months at a time. But as a slide rule, we're going to go ahead and say 1 month on, 1 month off, so that you're always getting the value of the creatine, because just like anything else, your body remembers things and it won't be as useful as it would be brand new fresh. So that's why 1 month on, 1 month off to recoup, and then it's bam, right back into it. Does it do anything else? Creatine also has the ability to effectively store glycogen. Replenishing this glycogen storage may also aid in the recovery and hypertrophy. Hypertrophy is an interesting word. That's really the essence of bodybuilding. You really want to look for muscle growth, and that's what the hypertrophy is. The increased glycogen may also help to block cortisol. We have muscle fibers called transitional fibers that can exhibit great feats of strength for a short period of time, but they're damaged easily. You ever watch Montel and you see the story of the little girl who pulled a Volkswagen bus off of her dad because he got stuck during a rainstorm? That's where the transition fibers come in. These things can do amazing things, but the only problem is that they get damaged very, very easily. Now, by blocking the cortisol prior to the fiber damage, the damaged cells fuel with what we call satellite cells. These satellite cells are rogue cells, not muscle cells necessarily, that can combine with these transitional cells to create stronger and larger muscle fibers, which is, again, what it's all about. Breaking down, building back up. The increased glycogen in the muscle also requires water, which results in a larger, fuller looking set of muscles. Now, if you've ever taken creatine before, The one thing everyone's always going to say is, oh, it just stores water. Well, yes, that's one of the effects. It will draw water into the muscle, but don't let that be the only deciding factor when you're choosing creatine. Creatine has so many other useful traits. Creatine has also been shown to discourage muscle fatigue during a heavy lift, resulting in more repetitions at a higher weight, higher quality training session. Again, this is really what it's all about. Going in there, hitting it hard, hitting it strong. The next question you're going to ask is it safe? All of the research that I've done over many, many, many years have all said the same thing. Creatine is safe as a supplement. Some studies, however, have shown that people with known kidney problems should not take creatine because the creatine may interfere with some kidney-brain signal functions. Again, do your research. Never go in blindly to anything. Make sure that you have a good foundation, a good knowledge of whatever you're doing or any project you're getting into, or in this case, a supplement, before you take it. Don't just listen to some guy at the gym. Do your research and know what you're doing. If you want to get more information on creatine or any other supplement, or even on different bodybuilding techniques, different muscle parts, dieting, anything like that, I strongly suggest going to bodybuilding.com. I love this site. There's literally hundreds of articles that you can read by PhDs and other people in the field, and it's very, very, very informative.